Welcome back. Today we'll be looking at how to write a custom file structure. Basically, when you're building your own custom program, you don't want to use any old file format. You want to build a custom file structure which is custom designed to make it easier for your programs to work with your files. So let's say we wanted to create a game where we have various different players or characters, and we wanted to store the character information in the text file. So we first need a text file. Type ofstream and name it file1. Then next, create a file called players text. If this file already exists, C++ can find and open it. But it doesn't exist, so as it doesn't, C++ will automatically create one. If we wanted to build a load of characters ourselves, we would need to build a program to enter the character information. So we'll start by giving a prompt of what we want to do. So cout, enter player's ID and name and money and end line. This will print out on screen. The first will be a number for the ID, then a name for the player, then a number again for the amount of money they have. Then we'll be working with something called an end of file marker. When C++ opens a file, it'll look for the end of file marker. This is basically the end of your file. It's a small symbol which tells C++ where the end of your file is. So if you're working with Windows and you press down Ctrl and Z on your keyboard, this inputs an end of file marker. So type in press Ctrl plus Z to quit the program, then end line. After this, we need three variables which will store this information temporarily. So make the ID number an integer and the name a string, and the money will be a double because that's decimal points, like £40 and 87 pence. So we have three variables: ID number, name, and money. We then want to be allowed to enter this information whenever the program is running. So we'll make a while loop, as we have no idea how many characters will be entered. Whenever you want to get information from the keyboard/user, use CIM. So the first thing they type will be stored in the ID number, the second in the character's name, and the third is how much money the character has. So the user can type in many different characters and their information and will want it all stored in a file. So this loop is going to be true as long as they don't get to the end of the file, and it'll know that it's at the end of the file because of Ctrl Z. So whenever the user enters information, we have an ID number, a name, and an amount of money. Then what's left is inserting it into the file. So enter a file object. This means players without text. So first thing we want to insert is the ID number, then space, then name, then space, and then the last thing is money, end line, element. So we'll run this program now. It says enter player's ID, name, and money. So we'll make some players for this game. The player's ID can be 1, the name can be Bilko, and the money can be £65 and 47 pence. Press enter and add another character. ID is 2, name Carol, and she has £43 and 21 pence. And then one more character. ID is 3, the name can be Angel, and she has £2 and 54 pence. Then we can press Ctrl Z, which means end of the file. You may or may not need to press enter after Ctrl Z. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. At the end of the file, I couldn't insert anything else, so my program just quit there. So if you now go to your document, you can see a text file has been created called players text. Click that and you'll see that everything has been entered in the exact same format that we had inputted it. So we created a file that we open, and when we open it, we have access to that file. We gave the user a prompt showing him how to input the data, and then made three variables store the data temporarily. Then the user filled in the variables ID number, name, and money, and whenever we have those variables populated with values, it is stored in a file using whatever format we wanted to, and that format was the ID number, space, name, space, money. Once inserted one player, you go to the next line and repeat the process. So that is how you can store data in a file formatted how you want it. You may or may not want it formatted in this way, but whenever you know the structure of how your file is formatted, whenever we open the file to read all the information, and we know which format is convenient, so that's why you would want custom file structures. because they make it easier for your program to work with files if they know where the data is going to be and what type of data it is. So basically, the first column was always ID numbers, the second column was always names, and the third column was always money. And this basically makes it really easy to program in this way. So that's it for today, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you very much.